The U.S. Secret Service is investigating after cocaine was found at the White House on Sunday night. The discovery led to an evacuation of the White House. However, the president was not on the premises at the time. He was at Camp David. But the discovery and the ensuing investigation did overshadow President Joe Biden's Independence Day celebration. Now, the mystery has deepened further after the Secret Service said that the substance was found in the West Wing and not the library that was reported earlier. In fact, confusion ensued over where the illicit substance was found. A dispatch from DC's fire department had clearly stated that the powder was discovered in the library. However, a source with the Secret Service has told dailymail.com that the cocaine was found in a West Wing work area and not the executive mansion where the library is located. But of course, trolls were quick to target President Joe Biden's son, who's a recovering addict. And they, of course, trolled Hunter Biden on Twitter as well. They are speculating that Biden Jr. was a source of the illicit drug making it into the White House. Now, for those unaware, Hunter Biden has already penned his out-of-control drug abuse in his memoir, Beautiful Things. But the president and his son maintain that he has kicked his addiction. Now, it should be noted that the Biden family arrived back at the White House for Independence Day celebrations on Tuesday morning. This as the Secret Service continued its investigation. Interestingly, the drug discovery came 2 days after the 52-year-old Hunter Biden was last seen at the White House. This as he headed to Camp David with his father for the long holiday weekend. Now, Hunter was later spotted outside on the South Lawn where the 4th of July festivities had kicked off. So how did cocaine make it to the White House? Well, the shocking discovery remains unsolved. But the question is, why is it still unsolved? Let's try and pose those questions to my guests today. I'm joined in by Nicole Brenner Schmitz, who's a Democrat strategist, also joined in by Orlando Sanchez, who's a Republican strategist. Both are joining me live. Thank you, Orlando and Nicole, for joining in. Orlando, let me begin with you. A discovery of an illicit substance at the White House leads to a brief shutdown and an evacuation, and the White House remains silent. What, in your view, explains the silence?
Well, in an abundance of precaution, of course, the building is evacuated because people don't know what the white substance is. And so until it can be determined that it's not harmful to inhale or touch, then they give the all clear. But I think it calls into question the security of the White House. Do they have trained canines that can sniff illicit drugs? Do they have enough videotape? You know, this is a very public space. A lot of tourists, congressmen, and senators from the 50 different states issue passes to their constituents to tour the White House, and part of the West Wing is part of that tour. So there is a multiplicity of people that could have come through the White House and deposited that. So I think we ought to let the investigation proceed without, speculating as to who may have been the owner of the controlled substance.
Fair enough. Nicole, the situation was serious enough for the DC Fire Department to be called in to evaluate the substance. But shouldn't the White House be more prompt about clearing the air through an official statement?
Well,
I agree.
That question's for Nicole. That question's for Nicole. Yes, Nicole, go ahead.
They needed to call the fire department. They needed to follow their protocols. They needed to find out what the substance was. When they found it, they didn't know that if it was cocaine or something, dangerous to the employees that are working there from it being in the air. So that's what that was all about. They have found this substance, it looks like, right by where tours go through, where folks are asked to leave their cell phones for that part of the tour. So it's really unclear how this got into the White House. It's really unclear who had it, if they meant to leave it there to cause this ruckus, if they were carrying it and accidentally put it down. I mean, we don't know who had it. We don't know why. So the White House is following its protocols right now, and I'm sure will issue a statement once the investigation has concluded.
Right. Orlando, what stands out are conflicting reports in terms of where the tiny cocaine bag was found. The DC Fire Department has claimed that it was at the library, a more private space in the White House compared to the West Wing, which is a more public space frequented by the Biden administration, White House officials, even journalists. What is one to make of these conflicting reports, or is one to just overlook them?
Well, I mean, it's early. First of all, this would not be a big issue had it not been for Joe Biden's son, Hunter, having an addiction problem, which, many people around the world have an addiction problem. He's admitted it. He's apparently sought treatment. So I don't think that making that nexus between, the Biden family and the substance found in the White House is appropriate at this time. So I don't think we need to speculate as to where it comes from, where it was found. Of course, the White House needs to issue a statement once they have all the facts as to where it was found, who deposited it, and what are the consequences, and what can they do to secure the White House. Because while it's cocaine and generally harmless unless ingested, it could be a different substance, which could be potentially, as Nicole said, very fatal and harmful to the general public if it's inhaled. So it really does, for me, call into question the entire security apparatus of the White House.
And that's what I'm also going to ask Nicole. Nicole, even if the drug was discovered in the West Wing, contrary to what the claims by the DC Fire Department have been, is this not a remark on President Biden's top staff at the White House?
Well, we're not sure because we don't know who brought it in. We don't know why it was there. It was at a place where tours, what CNN here is reporting is that it was found at a location where tours go through. So the general public does have an ability when they've secured the tickets to go on a tour of the White House. And it's where that they put their cell phones because there's a part of the tour where you can't take those along. So it's unclear. It was also found in a routine Secret Service check. It wasn't that someone spotted it and called them over. This is what they're doing. They are consistently monitoring and checking and fulfilling their job of trying to keep the White House safe. So I am sure that the White House is going to issue a statement as to where it really was found and
Right.
what the investigation
and that also
finds.
brings
And I
us
am
to the
sure
question.
that the service is continuing to take a look at their protocols and see how it was able to get into the White House.
But then the question of security at the White House naturally arises. Nicole, that question's for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking me,
No,
that's
no, that
correct.
question
I
was
mean,
for Nicole because she
oh,
mentioned that, it was, she mentioned about the location, and which is why I want to ask Nicole, even if we talk about the location, the fact that it was within the premises of the White House does raise questions about the security checks in the White House.
I think it raises a question about entering the White House and what they went through and how did it make it through there. But I mean, I do think that the Secret Service did find it in a routine check. But I am sure that the Secret Service and the White House is taking a look at how did this, if it came in with a tour or if it came with staff, how did it get in through? You go through metal detectors, you obviously empty out your pockets, they go through your bags. So it is a question of how did it make its way through? And I am sure that is something that the Secret Service and the White House is investigating very, very closely.
Right.
Right now.
Here's, in fact, hoping that they do come out with a statement after the investigation is completed.